Hi, I'm Kaffe from Always in Stitches in Noblesville, Indiana, and we're here today to talk about the Kaffe Fassett collective of fabrics that we recently received in our store. If you're familiar with Kaffe, he has a tremendous volume of fabrics in his collections, and we try to get just a few in every once in a while. Each time he comes out with a collection, we get a few pieces and continue to build our collection so that you can build your collection. What's kind of motivated us right now is this lovely book that he has. It's called the Kaffe Fassett's Quilts in Burano. And if I'm butchering that word, I apologize. Somebody that speaks Italian will be better at telling me how to say that. But what this is not only a book that's beautifully filled with quilts and pictures, and I'm just going to open it up here and show you some of the scenery. He actually toured in Venice. And so these were taken on waterways and in all the beautiful buildings along the waterways in Venice. And he takes his quilts and puts them against these buildings. And so the colors are just incredible. And there's actually a picture of Kaffe with Brandon right there. So this was just an opportunity for them to really look at their quilts next to these buildings to see the dimensions and the designs. And it's kind of a coffee table book that you would just sit and look and drool over and enjoy. But the good news is in the back of the book are the patterns to make all the quilts that you see. So it's not specifically, I mean, it does show fabrics that he's used, but you could certainly use these with any quilt, not just with his fabrics. The book retails for $30, but it contains numerous patterns to make as many things as you want. So I would strongly recommend, if you have any interest in all, let us know. We do have these books in stock available for you. This one is mine. It's going home with me. No one can have it. I've been drooling on it and licking at pages and all that, so they're not going anywhere. But anyway, that's this. So the other thing that's related to this book right now is what's called the Say Yes to Kaffe Collective. And this is a contest being run by the Free Spirit Company, which is the company that distributes his fabrics. And they're offering a contest. It started now, so you use Kaffe fabrics to make quilts that are inspired by this book. And Kaffe is going to look at those quilts when you post them to your Instagram or other social media places with a particular hashtag, and then when he sees all the quilts, he's going to select the ones he likes for the winner. So this paperwork explains that it's a little bit involved and more time than what we've got to go in here. But we'll have this on our website so you can see what it says, and we also have the flyers in the shop if you want to swing by and pick one up and find out how you can say yes to Kaffe fabrics and perhaps win some really cool prizes. I know some people on our staff are maybe going to even try to do that too. So hopefully we'll get to see that. But meanwhile, I want to take you through some of these fabrics because they are more than just looking at a piece of quilting cotton. They are art. And if you watch any of Kaffe's videos, he has some really good information out there about what inspires him to create fabric the way he does, how he chooses the colors and how he comes up with these ideas. And he is truly an artist in his field, not just in fabric. He started in yarn. He's also crossed over to home deck. Now he's also, the Coach Company has picked up some of his designs for their bags and clothing wear. So he is one of the true artists of our century that's going to cross over in all these modalities, which is really exciting for us. So it's just neat to have his fabric in the store because it's like having a Picasso, you know. It's every time you buy it, it's really amazing. So we've got a couple things that we carry of his wide backs. We have more coming. So we'll kind of update as we get more fabrics in, but we have more coming. These two we have currently in the store. This one is the watermelons and pumpkins. And I'm going to show you all these fabrics opened up because looking at the end of a bolt doesn't work. It just doesn't give you enough dimension. This could easily be done as a whole cloth. This would make not only a lovely back, but it could be curtains, it could be a bed runner, a duvet cover, just lots of uses. And the quality of the fabric's a little different. One of the things that he talks about in his videos is how he really chooses the fabric from the thread that goes in the fabric all the way to how it's woven to where it's milled and how it's printed. So his fabric has a shiny, not slick, but just a super soft feel to it. It's a little different than what we're used to with our normal quilting cottons. So, and it's still the same price as our normal quilting cottons, which is kind of fun. So that's the pumpkins and watermelons. And then this piece, which I just love, because, you know, he's so bright. And then here we have this great big urn for a back. Now these are 108 wide, so not only could you use this, you know, on a back of a quilt, but this could be curtains. This could be certainly in your home deck situations if you wanted to use it. Gosh, you could even, I've seen where you can put oilcloth, put like an oil base on top of this and make this into a rug. Would that be awesome? That'd be beautiful. Put it on a canvas backing and make a rug out of it. So it's a fiber art. So I want you to hear that fiber art. Doesn't mean you just cut it up and put it in a quilt. You know, there's so much more you can do with fabric than just make quilts and garments. We're seeing so much more crossover now these days, and that's exciting to me because it is truly art. So what I'm going to do now is go through some of the fabrics we have and just open them up so you can see them. If you just look at the end of a bolt of fabric, often you don't see the beauty in it. So it just so happens when this line came in, I bought a yard of everything, which is kind of typical to me, unfortunately. But anyway, or fortunately, I guess it depends on how you look at it. But anyway, these are my fabrics that are going to go home with me. But before they went home, Peter suggested wisely that we do a video, and so that's what we're doing here. So I'm just going to open these up so you can really see. This is Dahlia's, and it just jumps off of the fabric. It's electric. What Kaffe does, I think, better than any of the other designers out there right now, well, except maybe Tula. Tula does it well too, but she learned from Kaffe, is coloring. It's the positioning a yellow against a purple, against a pink, against a green, and making that pop in a way that you just don't see, except with stuff that comes from a true artist. So we're going to just kind of spread these out on the table here and see what we can get. So here, our snacks are in the picture. This one, the gal that checked it in was like, it's octopus, and it is. But you don't see that right off. So here's what I want you to think about. Sometimes people are a little concerned about using a print this large, but it's much like a batik in that just because it's a print that large doesn't mean you're going to use the whole print. You can cut up little pieces and look how many different colors I get out of one piece of fabric. I get aqua, I get red, I get a vibrant blue, I get orange. You know, I get all these colors, and depending on which piece I chunk out to put in my quilt, it's going to give me the color that I want. So just because it's a big print doesn't mean you have to only use a big chunk of it. You can still cut it up into little pieces. Now some of them are just so beautiful you hate to cut them up into little pieces, but you can. So now this was the octopus in red background with aqua and blue. So now we have a blue background with aqua and orange. So even though it's kind of the same color play, because they're positioned differently, it just looks completely different. And wouldn't this be great in an I Spy quilt? Because I don't know if I saw the octopus cut out in the center as a piece, if I would always recognize it right away, it's an octopus. I know we've had fabric on the table sometimes cutting it for customers and say, oh, you like the octopus on this fabric? They're like, what octopus? The one in the middle of the fabric that's like right there. But the eye sees what it wants to see sometimes. So, okay, this is one of my favorites. And I'm sorry, I say that again and again. Oh, this is one of my favorites. I don't know that I don't have a favorite. This is the lotus leaf. Look at the colors. How he pulls the gray. There's kind of a gray tone in there, but right next to those brights, and nothing looks dull, but nothing overpowers the other one. How cool is that? How do you do that? It's just knowing how to do it, make it look right. And there's just the littlest bit of black in there. Do you see the little bit of black around the edges? So yeah, zoom in on the black. So if I were working with this fabric, I would very definitely put like a black flange maybe around some of my blocks, or put a black little tiny black stripe maybe in the border to kind of help pull that black out a little bit. But it's just enough. That's what gives that dimension to those leaves, is that black in the background. But how smart is that? I mean, really, that's just genius. Okay, this one, it's my favorite. I'll just say it again. I think this looks like Miami in the summertime, Miami Beach. I can just see this in some little. If you've ever been to Miami Beach, they have this entire row of old Art Deco kind of hotels and little easy spots to stop and tour, and I can see this hanging in one of those, and some husky-voiced person singing its jazz song in the corner, you know, Bogey and Bogart and what was it? Humphrey Bogart and who was the lady he always was with? They played in those movies, and it was always this sultry scene. But yeah, that just says Florida to me. Now, you can't have all these fun prints without having some kind of basics, which I know some people are like, that's a basic. It is. But this does give your eye a rest. So one of the things to think about when you're making a quilt, and even with Kaffe's quilts a little bit, you'll notice when he gets to a border or when he gets to maybe one of the small borders, the bigger borders, he does give your eye a rest. And that's what this color or this dot or monotonous pattern is what I'll say. These are such busy patterns, but this is a more monotonous pattern. This does give your eye a rest, but it retains the colors that you're trying to work with. So that's a fun one too, in that it just, look how it plays with these other colors too. Even with these, it's not necessarily in the same colorway, but it pops. So then he does, what you'll see happens with Kaffe's collections is he'll bring back a particular print that he likes in another colorway because he really experiences with color. He does or experiments with color. So this is the agate, which this one's been around for a little while. In this colorway, and I call these geodes because in Indiana we have what are called geodes. I don't know how many of those are around the rest of the world, but this kind of looks like the inside of a geode. Or I've even seen mushrooms look like this that grow on trees. But you could cut one of those big pieces out of the center, one of those big circles, and just make that the center of your block on several blocks. That would be a really neat effect. And the geometry of it. I just love the flowing of the circles. It gives you it's just relaxing to look at. Has a nice dimension to it. So there's agate in copper and kind of a iridescent blue. And now the same pattern, different color, grays and pinks. And it's amazing how much it changes it. But there's also a little bit of green in there. You can hardly see it. This little teeny dots of lime green every once in a while that are just, and if you put that lime green against this, it would absolutely make the colors just glow. But you have to look close to see the lime green. We're going to have a pretty quilt on top of this table when we're done. Just throwing the fabric down. Okay, now here, okay, so that one was kind of pale, kind of subtle. This one is very bold. But I see this in a jacket, you know, an evening jacket with beads all over it. You could wear to someplace really fun.
Great evening jacket.
Wouldn't that be a great evening jacket? And embellish it with red sequins and sparkly stuff. Oh my gosh, it'd be amazing. So this is, again, the same pattern, but just a different colorway, and how different it feels when you look at the three colorways we've got real quick here. We've just got three, the pink, the blue, and the red and green. Such a different feeling. This feels so earthy. This feels very, very feminine, kind of almost baby girlish, and then this just feels strong, psychedelic New Mexico. I think of poppies and kind of the colors I see out there with some of that stuff. Okay, then here's agate again. This makes me think of the ocean, the greens and the blues and a little bit of black in it. How fun that is. And then the other thing is,
Like somebody plugged into the socket.
yeah, it's like it doesn't even need lights, and it's just electric. But this is the other thing. Sometimes when you get a piece of fabric and it's like, okay, I really love the colors, but they're just a little too bright. We'll just use the back of the fabric. we don't, just because it's folded with this side together doesn't necessarily make that the wrong side. You could still use this in your quilt if you want those colors, you just want them in a different tone. Or even use the same thing to get those colors to be a little different in one quilt. So I've got two tones going on. If I want to do like a reflection, or if you're working on a block and you want it to reflect off of each other, it's like a mirror image. Like when you look at a painting where the water is reflecting the mountains, that's kind of a little mistier in the reflection. Same thing here, it's like a reflection of the color instead of the actual intensity of the original. So the wrong side of the fabric is only the wrong side of fabric if you say it is. Make anything you want the right or the wrong side. Okay, now here we are, we got all these really bold colors, and then we have this really soft, gentle, shabby chic, kind of grayish and lavenders. This would make a great piece in a little shabby chic, lots of wicker in a room and this kind of there. But okay, just what I said about the front maybe being a little too strong. Look at the back of this for a shabby chic setup. How perfect would that be? Because it's got that faded kind of little soft, yeah, very soft. So, you know, use more than one side of your fabric. If you're going to buy it, use it. What you pay for it, you got to use both sides, right? Okay, so that was, I think those are, does it say what those are? Wisteria. Okay, they're calling that wisteria. Here's wisteria in another color. Same pattern, different colorway. It is. And that's what he plays with, is color. When you look at the quilts that he designs, and in the book especially, you'll see they're primarily just half square triangles and squares. He's not doing intricate flying geese and, you know, all these triangles that got to come together and do all these fancy things and pinwheels and all that. He's doing some basic quilting shapes and turning them into the interest of how the colors come together, how they crisscross and match, or how the patterns work against each other to create a design. So this is one I see binding. I look at this and I see bias cut binding. Anytime I see anything with something of a stripe to it, I'm going to put a bias cut binding on it, because that's just the way it goes. This is called Stream. And it does have a water feel to it, kind of, or something along that line. Here it is in another colorway. And this is kind of pale, I guess, but this is a little darker. I mean, it's a very bold color, but to call it dark is a little. But look, there's purple, there's orange, there's olive, there's teal, there's, I don't know, kind of a aqua green. Every color. So you really get your money's worth when you buy a half a yard or even a fat quarter, because all the colors that are in there you can use in so many different ways. Okay, now we have amaryllis, which is a fun flower. I don't think I've ever seen amaryllis in this color, but they can do about anything anymore. Isn't that, oh.
That'd make a great wedding. I can see somebody using that as a wedding dress.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't want a traditional wedding dress.
Yep.
They wanted a,
Or, yeah, or even, you know, just a partial. Use it as a sash on something, or
oh, that'd be beautiful.
wouldn't that be
Like
pretty? Just a
belt,
sash,
an
just a
accent.
belt, just as an accent. And then the flowers to go with. And then here's another one. Okay, so the front's too strong for you, use the back.
Oh, gorgeous.
It's still, you know, it's so pretty. The fabric on both sides is pretty. And if you like the more subtle tones, you can still get away with that. Okay, this one's Peter's favorite. It's the irises. These are bearded irises, as my grandmother called them. And okay, just look at the colors. He's got a gold background with red and aqua and purple and green. I mean, what an abundance of color that doesn't shock your eye. It pleases your eye, which is amazing to me that he can take all these colors, put them together, and it doesn't make me want to scream. It makes me just marvel at it, you know.
I think it'd be fun to cut out all the purple ones, cut out all the red ones, and then put them into a star block.
Oh, yeah. That'd be fun. Yeah. He's think of all the good things you can do there. Okay.
That would be fun.
Okay, now these two I think are kind of the funkiest out of this particular line. If you like the pumpkins and watermelons on this back, you're going to like this. So here we have watermelons again. And those look like watermelons. Those are colored like watermelons. I can see that in a watermelon patch or cantaloupes. But wouldn't this be fun curtains on it? Maybe a back little screen porch or your kitchen or I don't know. People have chicken coops anymore. They're decorating a lot. Maybe they put watermelon curtains in their chicken coop. You never know. I've got a cousin that does that. She's got a thing going with her chickens. Okay, so that was watermelons in a color we're familiar with. But what about watermelons in an eggplant color? This is kind of putting it on edge. But it's that artistic, look at something you've seen 100 times in a totally different way. That purple is just yummy. And see the aqua in there, how it just moves against that purple. I love how he puts the colors together in a way that I never would have thought about. And it works. You know, it's when my daughter first started dressing herself when she was little, and she put together some of the wildest outfits, and I was like, okay, she did it, she can do it, I'm just going to let her go and go with it. And I'm thinking maybe Kaffe's mom was really good about saying, do what you want. Color outside the lines. You want a purple tree? Color a purple tree. Who cares? And isn't that what it's about? I mean, this is our craft. This should be fun and interesting and unusual and give us a chance to have the freedom to just express whatever we want to express. And if you want purple watermelons, by golly, you get purple watermelons. I love it, love it, love it. So that's just some of the fabrics we have. We do have others out there right now from some of his previous lines. So there are other fabrics. We got a whole rounder full up front because we are really encouraging people to get into this contest, which I don't know where my papers went. Here they are. We really are encouraging you to do this Say Yes to Kaffe because I think the opportunity to win some cool prizes is definitely there for a lot of our customers. We had a quilt shop not too far from us that they decided to close because they were ready to retire, which, oh yes, someday we will retire. Everybody gets to eventually, I hope. That's the idea. But I know a lot of their customers were Kaffe people, so we're trying to be sure we get the fabrics that they would be interested in purchasing in our store as well and help meet the need of the consumer. So if we don't have something in the shop you'd like to see us carry it, let us know because we'll do what we can to get it if we can. Fabric right now with the recent situation around the world, some of our fabric is being delayed in shipments. So if you see it and you like it, buy it because who knows? Hopefully we don't have the same crisis with fabric that we did with toilet paper, but one never knows. So anyway, thanks for watching. Any questions, feel free to post or comment. Our website is alwaysinstitches1.com, and it's the number 1. It's not the word spelled out, but it's just all the words alwaysinstitches1, smushed together, no spaces.com. That's our website. Anything you've seen is available to purchase there, and the books are there. And our staff is always here, 317-776-4227. And you can see when our hours are. We are allowing customers in right now with masks, so we hope you come see us. And I think that's about it. Have we missed anything today, Peter?
We didn't miss a thing.
Good. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and hopefully we can help you say yes to Kaffe very soon. Happy stitching.